But with that, I'm going to move to our main event, which is a presentation by Peter Cui from Taiwan. I wouldn't say too much, but Peter is one of the main collaborators of vTaiwan. And for those of you not familiar, Taiwan is probably one of the most progressive digital ecosystems on the planet. For the last 10 years, I've been doing research on digital economies and digital governance across Asia. And usually the stories are pretty bad. China, India, these countries tend to lead in the space of more oppression, more digital authoritarianism. But Taiwan is coming in in the face of that. Taiwan's an opening space where I think they're trying out different things. There's a lot of unique collaboration that's happening with the government and with civic tech and activists. And I think there's a lot for us to learn. And I think vTaiwan, which we'll learn more about, has been one of the key platforms that have helped, I think, try something new. When we talk about democracy, we talked about more participation, true participation from all people. And I think Taiwan has something experimental. Maybe there's some things that we can learn. And we couldn't have anyone better than Peter to come share. So welcome, Peter. Welcome to Chiang Mai. You're visiting for the week. And I'll leave you to it.
And thank you, everyone. And it's actually my pleasure to spare some of my vacation time because I'm here for vacation with my girlfriend and to share some experience with you guys. And I'm really happy and really delighted to have this kind of experience, to have this kind of chance to exchange your experience, community building, and how to connecting with each other, and how to build these communities, and how to overcome some challenges when you're running different kinds of projects when you're in Chiang Mai, and also my experience in Taiwan. So my name is Cui, and my English nickname is Peter. Usually you know that in the community, calling this nickname is always much easier, but if you want, and you can call me Jiawei as well. And I'm currently studying law in National Taiwan University, and I got my bar exam. I passed the bar exam, so that is why I have a lot of time to do the things like that. And I also work as a gov-zero contributors and also a vTaiwan contributors as well. And some of you guys are actually from Web3 community. So I have some relationship with Web3 community right now because I'm currently working as a legal counsel in crypto exchange in Taiwan right now as well. So if you have any questions about crypto law or whatever things like that, we have an Ask Me Anything session after my sharing. Yeah. Okay. So for those who guys do not know what vTaiwan is, I think we must trace the origin back to 2014, which is 10 years ago. In 10 years ago in Taiwan, we have a monumental social movement. It was called Sunflower Student Movement. And the origin of the Sunflower Student Movement is that the current the government then, from the KMT, the ruling party then, they want to pass a bill to make a closer economic ties with China, like opening more positions in Taiwan for Chinese people. So, and also building more closer connection and relationship with China. And these issues, whether it is good or not, is still debatable. But however, the question is the procedure is not legitimate, which means that the legislator on KMT parties passing the bill without full discussions, or using only 3 minutes, and no, not only 3 minutes, less than 1 minute, and says, okay, 3, 2, 1, okay, we passed the bill. So that makes everybody angry about that. So a lot of students get together and become the Sunflower Student Movement. And the students, the volunteers, the protesters occupy the parliament for 3 months. And afterwards, peaceful end is that the students was removed from the parliament. No one got hurt. Some people got hurt by the police riots, but however, no casualties, no people died like that. And afterwards, the civic society is starting to feel that, okay, if we really get together, we have the change, we have the power to change the government. So people starting to turning from a more passive atmosphere into a more progressive and more active atmosphere. But however, on the other side, the government side realize that they must building a public trust with the citizens. So the government's representative, this one is lawyer Jacqueline Tai. She is the minister without portfolio. So minister without portfolio is a special position in Taiwan's government. Its mission, we have several ministers without portfolio, and their mission is to coordinate different government agencies to work together, because usually these ministers are in charge of one certain agencies. But however, these agencies, it's very hard for them to work together. So we need a third party to coordinate everything together on working on some policies. Like for Jacqueline Tsai, she focusing on innovative policies and also how to build digital innovation, and also blockchain, AI are also included. So Jacqueline Tsai, in 10 years ago, she reached out to the gov-zero community, which is the civic tech community in Taiwan, and say, hey, how about we create an online platform for digital policy discussions together? So vTaiwan is born due to this atmosphere. So before vTaiwan is born, the government usually discuss the policy with professionalism, which means that the government usually resorting to the scholars. And the corporations usually send a lot of money, public donations into lobbying. And usually, even though some meeting is recorded down, but however, the meeting record is not completed or is not transparent enough. So vTaiwan's mission is to make it open. So first of all, its discussion is community-based, which means that the vTaiwan community will hold all discussions together and note down everything. And we will invite different stakeholders together, not only the scholars, not only the professionals, but also the people who really got impacted by the policy. And finally, we use some online streaming services and the collaboration nodes to make the whole process more transparent, because everybody can participate into the discussions with the video on online streaming or using the collaborative notes to do the record down together. So the structure of vTaiwan is just like that. So the minister office serving as the bridge between the government and the civic society. First is the Jacqueline Tsai, and then the Audrey Tan. You must know that, must know her. So this is one part of that. And the other one is STLI, Science and Technology Law Institute of Industry, Industrial, III is a think tank in Taiwan, and it usually takes a lot of government's policy research and consultancies works like that. So the STLI provides the resources and serving as a legal wrapper. If you are working in a community, you will know that if you want to receive a donation, no matter using what kind of forms you need to have legal agencies. Need to have legal entities to receive these kind of money, to open a bank account, to receive these kind of donations and scholarship, sponsorship together. So STLI serving as a legal wrapper for vTaiwan community then, and then also they provide the legal research team for us to do a more deeper legal research before every deliberative discussion. Because before every deliberative discussions, we need to have context building. We need to make people understanding what is the policy going on and what are existing things, existing policies, and what are the new things. And we need people to compare them together. So this work is focusing on STLI. And finally, it's the gov-zero contributors. Volunteers, and they are the ones who inviting the stakeholders and working together to make the streaming services working well, working together to make the collaborative nodes working well, so everybody can participate into the process. So the process like this. So 3 keywords is digital tools, stakeholders, and consensus. This is a more complicated one, but we have like a more simple one afterwards. Wait a minute. Oops. Okay, I will use that to introduce. So the first stage is the proposal stage. So the proposal stage, the citizens, the government agencies will bring issue into the vTaiwan community. And we will qualify the issue, thinking about what is the real question into these issues, like what is the real problem. Like one prominent example is that the Uber case. So when Uber first come into Taiwan, people are thinking about what is the difference between Uber and the traditional taxi services. So Uber says they are the technology companies, they are the platforms, they are not the agencies that offering the public transportations like the traditional taxi companies. But the traditional taxi companies argue that, okay, but you are doing the same things. You are making the drivers, taking the passengers, and sending these people using the private cars to whatever they want. So what is the difference between Uber and the traditional taxi companies, and whether they should be under the same rules or they should not be under the same rule, they should have different rules, is the core of the issue. And then we need to discover the stakeholder. So discover the stakeholder, you can see that in the Uber case, it is more like an easier one because we can see that the taxi driver and the Uber company is the two main stakeholders. But in some issues, like in the artificial intelligence issues that we are currently working on, the things will become more complicated because everybody can be influenced by the AI. Everybody can be influenced by the issue of AI, like discriminations, like the scalable issues or the cybersecurity or privacy protection. These issues will be more complicated and it will be harder to find the stakeholders. So sometimes we need many rounds of meetings and many rounds of discoveries to discover the right and try to covering most of the stakeholders in this issue. And afterwards, we'll invite stakeholders through rolling questionnaires, and also we will identify the people who is not discovered in the first round of the stakeholders discovery. And then we will reach out to the public and also producing content digestible for the stakeholders to do the discussions. It's very important because if the stakeholders cannot understand the context of the policy, then the discussion will be meaningless. And then we are moving on to the online deliberation, which means that we were using some online tools, usually Polis, but also we are trying some other tools like Google Forms or Slido, these kind of online services, depending on the issue and depending on the stakeholders, depending on the number of the participants that we want to try to reach out. So using different tools to do the online deliberations and also doing the comment curation. Finally, we're doing the face-to-face dialogue. We still believe that the face-to-face dialogue is really important because the organic feature of the face-to-face discussion cannot be replaced by the online meeting route. You know that if you are doing online meeting, you usually following the agenda, but the agenda does not covering everything. Sometimes the innovation, inspiration is coming from the organic discussions during the breakout session or during the break session in the face-to-face discussion. So that is why we still keep these kind of face-to-face dialogue in our process. And then we're using some tools. Right now we have like AI Whisper, these kind of tools to do the transcript. But before that, we still have some like Typeforms or other tools to do the transcript. And finally, we'll formalize the consensus within these kind of discussions. So one prominent example is that Uber, and we can use the Polis to generate these kind of two groups. The one group is more friendly toward Uber, and the other one is more friendly toward the traditional taxi drivers. It's a very prominent examples of how vTaiwan is used in policy making. And in these cases, over 4,000 participants provide their question online.
What's the upper and lower difference?
Hmm?
What's the difference between the top two and the bottom?
Top two. What do you mean top two?
The opinion goes top to bottom, left to right.
Yes. So it is like opinion, different opinions. So if people, the opinion will be falling on this diagram, and people agree with these opinions will be quantified together like this. Yes. Another is the digital tools analysis. We're using digital tools to analyze these kind of opinions and try to visualize that, trying to visualize people's different opinions. And finally, we are using these kind of diagram, these kind of visualization as a base for further discussions. So usually when you are doing deliberations, one challenge is that you cannot understand what's people's opinion in their mind, or even though they express their opinions, it is very hard to digest a lot of people's opinion. Sometimes it's really easy to like listen to one people, but however, if you are working on scale like 4,000 people, it will be totally impossible for you to prepare all the things in a short time. But however, within the technology, and right now we have generative AI, we have ChatGPT, and these things all become more easier. So, but however, even though without these kind of with these kind of successful cases like the Uber case, or we have discussion on the corporate law in Taiwan as well, but however, we still have some problems. The first problem is about reputation gap. The reputation gap means that the Audrey Tang actually, during her career in the government, working in the minister without portfolio, and then the MODA minister, she always promotes gov-zero and vTaiwan during her career. But however, most citizens in Taiwan still don't know about what is vTaiwan is and what is gov-zero is. So it's like a reputation gap. For people doing research like digital democracies abroad, vTaiwan is a very prominent example and is famous and is very popular. But however, for people living in Taiwan who really get affected by these policies, they know little about vTaiwan. So yeah.
What percentage of like Taiwanese population would have participated in?
I have to say, in Taiwan, we have like 23 million people. But however, we only have like thousands, in our largest scale, we only have thousands of people participating inside. So there's like a little stage of that, yeah. And the other sense is we have the reliance on the critical public servant. So vTaiwan is now legalized, which means that the government have no obligations of using vTaiwan platform to doing policy discussion before they release a new policies. It is like optional. The governments, if they want to do that, they can do that. They can spare some resources. They can spare some budget to hosting a vTaiwan's event, trying to reach out the stakeholders using these ways. But however, another platform in Taiwan we call Join. In Mandarin, it is 公共政策参与平台. And it was legalized, which means that the government have obligations. If any government agencies wants to publish the new law or new regulation, they have the legal obligation to post it on the joint platform. And the joint platform is just like a policy version of Facebook. So the government agencies working as a user on Facebook, and the new regulation is like an article on Facebook, and everybody is if you have the ID number of Taiwan, you will be able to comment, leave your comments, or thumbs up, thumbs down others' comments on the joint platform. So that is why the joint platform right now become more frequently used in Taiwan, because it is legalized. But however, one question is that whether these kind of legalized platforms really have these kind of values or really have these kind of energies in doing deeper discussions, because a lot of people are just comment and mobilized to comment on the policy they don't like. Like, take one example. Right now, the 5 highest interactive articles from the government are all about medical services workers, like whether doctors can get the certificate when they graduate from the medical school abroad. Like, the doctors in Taiwan cares about that because it actually enlarged the number of the doctors, and it actually decreased the average salary of the doctors. So doctors in Taiwan, if they are born in Taiwan and they study the medical school in Taiwan, they do not want their salary to be decreased. So every time when government publish new policy about medical workers, then they will be mobilized to comment on these platforms. So there was 3,000, 4,000 messages. They are all coming from different doctors like that. So if the government really want to use vTaiwan, it's still determined by several critical public servants like Audrey Tang. And finally, institutional, the vTaiwan relies on the STLI as a legal whopper and getting the sponsorship. But however, relying on the STLI is not really stable, and it's not really efficient for vTaiwan community. So this is also the mechanism of the vTaiwan. So in the vTaiwan, we have a core group. I'm the main coordinator, so we will never be absent, no matter what happens. And we also have heavy contributors, which means that they will participate in these events more frequently. And we have live contributors. They will attend the events. They will not showing up in a weekly meetup, but however, they will attend the events. They will be holding their interest when they are participating in these events. And finally, we have micro contributors, which means that they will help us share the link or help us bridging and connecting with different stakeholders, like these kind of things. So it was called Blue Pass Onion, which means that every civic tech projects, they will have different levels of co-working space, co-working vibe. So every contributors, no matter what they come from, no matter what they are working with, they can using these kind of blue pass onions to determine their levels to participate in different projects. And for the project managers of the civic tech projects, they will be also very clear to see how much the contributors can take from other contributors, to work with. So time coming to 2023, and we knew one event was called Democratic Input to AI Grant. It was a project proposed by OpenAI. So the project basically is the OpenAI will select 10 teams around the world working with, and 10 proposals working with how to democratize AI, how to use some civic tech ways or proposals or online hybrid ways to make AI more democratic. And our proposal, working with a very prominent think tank in London, Chatham House, successfully got selected by OpenAI. So we are 10 teams out of 800 teams to be selected by OpenAI, and we are also the only team with Taiwanese. So with the grant offered by OpenAI, we are able to provide a very huge, not a very huge, but a real meetup. Then this is the working group, and I'm in the middle. I'm also working as the moderator and the host of this event. And we invite a lot of different people coming to our event to talk about AI and how to democratize AI using the vTaiwan way. We collecting the opinion online first, and then we use the opinion as a base to do a discussion. And we invite different, very versatile people, diversified people from different area. Like this one is a lawyer, but also he had his own media company, and he is the current legislator, and also works as a legislator, is still in the parliament right now. And she is the former NCC. NCC is the National Communication Council. It's like FCC in Taiwan, Federal Communication Council in Taiwan, working with internet facilities and the internet infrastructures. And we also have people from working in the hospital as an AI engineer, independent engineer, and people from MODA, and people from different areas, scholars, Aboriginal people, and people from LGBTQ groups. They are all talking about their feelings about influence on AI. And finally, we collecting our opinion and all experience and gathering together, making the report like this. So if you want to read the report, you can scan the QR code here, and I can send the link to Dave, and Dave, you can share with peers and folks with your forms and as well. Yeah. Okay. And also, I write down article sharing this experience of holding the AI discussions on FNF Foundation, thanks to Friedrich Naumann Foundation in Germany. And their project manager in Taiwan invited me to write an article on that, and recently was published on the website. So I would like to invite you guys to read. And the three key takeaways is that, first of all, is how AI issues right now is still really complicated, especially when you want to talk it with different groups of people, like LGBTQ groups or the indigenous people. They may know that AI will influence their life, but they do not have very tangible feelings. So sometimes if you want to have these kind of meaningful discussions with them, you need to have more like chat with them about AI or Web3, these kind of issues at first time before the discussions, or you need to have make them understand what is AI and what is the mechanism of that and what you will be maybe influenced like that. And the second thing is that the AI issues are always interconnected, which means that like for the discrimination of the AI systems, usually it is coming from or resulting from the data. The AI did not collecting enough data, or the data is being polluted by the discriminative content. So AI reproduce these kind of discrimination coming from the database. So how to make people have sound data, or how to make a better database for those people who easily exposed to discrimination is really important. So these two things, like the data governance and the discrimination, is interconnected together. So how to discuss on these issues based on different scenarios will be very important as well. Okay. So we are now working like this. We have a weekly meetup online using Jesse, an open source software. And we have people from Switzerland, we have people from Taiwan, we have people from United States, we have people from UK. So online meetup make us able to connect with each other, staying in different areas. I think it's also working the people in Chiang Mai, because Chiang Mai also connected. You also have the different connection with people in other countries, so it can be replicated. Yeah, and we also using the AI to analyze the data we get. Like we using generative AI to summarize the opinion. We take the raw data from Polis and feed them into the AI and ask the AI to circulate these opinions with us. So we can get these kind of conclusion to visualize. And we can make people easily know that what are these three people focusing about, and what are they going to talk about during the face-to-face discussions. And this is also another try. In Taiwan last year, we have another social movement. It was called Bluebird Social Movement. And the origin is also from the parliament. The parliament is going to pass some laws that will make the whole national system unconstitutional. So people starting to get on streets and get together, have the protesters, and we send the questionnaire to the people working on the streets, and then we collecting back the data, and we try to analyze the data by AI as well. So we have Group A and Group B, and these Group A, Group B actually visualize different people supporting different parties and supporting different kinds of opinions, which is really interesting. Yeah. And right now we are working on a social issue meetup, which means that we trying to building community with discussed connection and cooperations, and we want to foster the discussions with digital tools and like the polls or other opinion gathering tools online, and then we have face-to-face discussion together in a small space. And we want to have like multiple times, not only one times discussion, but have multiple times discussion. We want people to continue concerning and connecting with each other during these kind of social issue meetup. And we want to create a space for everybody to express their opinions, because we know that no matter in Taiwan or United States or in other places in the world, people in the whole of society, thanks to the social media and other online services, people become more and more polarized. So we want to make people together and make people think about doing face-to-face discussions with snakes, with drinks. People will be in a more easy mode, so that they will be able to discuss with people with different opinions with them to talk about the social issues together. And also we want to leverage NGOs in Taiwan or civic participants to build a stronger democracy. So like the linkage will be like that. So it was like civic tech community, researching and developing digital tools, fostering discussions. Right now we are also talking on how to make people participating online. Like we have this hybrid mode, which means that we have real face-to-face discussions here in the real spaces, but also we're using online meeting tools to make people who cannot reach out to these real spaces to come participate online. But however, participating online is still very challenging, because for those people, they'll be like more like an audience rather than a participant. They can only listening, but also they can hardly, and also it's very challenging for them to express their opinion. Even though we prepare a very good sound instruments or very good amplifier, it's still very challenging for them to do so. So we are thinking about how to use the AI, like a transcript, to provide a live streaming transcription for them to participate online with these kind of collaborative notes. And we're also talking with NGOs. Like right now, we have working with TWNIC, Taiwan Internet, TWNIC, the full name we'll look up later, but it is in charge of the network services in Taiwan, and it is an NGO in Taiwan. So we want to leverage with NGOs to provide domain knowledge on different social issues. Like right now, we are talking about AI governance, and the next round we are talking about the scam and fraud crime in Taiwan. Because currently, Taiwan is a lot of people in Taiwan are suffering from the fraud crime. They are being scammed, they are being frauded, and also their money lost a lot. And some people even be trafficking to Myanmar or Cambodia to get forced to participating to these kind of jobs. And civil participants, we know that in Taiwan, there's still people caring about a society, caring about a community, but they don't know how to they don't know how to put their effort in. But however, we will encourage them to participate in our social issue meetup in order to like having discussions, building connection with each other, and building stronger democracy together. So back to the problems with vTaiwan again. How to solve these problems? My plan is, first of all, about the reputation gap. I want to use the working with NGOs and other communities to promote vTaiwan, to make vTaiwan have more domestic reputation. And also we are cooperating with OCF, Open Culture Foundation. There's a NGO in Taiwan, and working with a lot of different communities, like student community, like the open source community in Taiwan, to gain resources. And the reliance on the critical public servants, we're trying to get independent from some influencers like Jacqueline Tsai or Audrey Tan. We're trying to build out our own events, organizing our events, and testing some deliberative tools on our own. And to solve uninstitutional questions, we open up a community account in OCF making OCF as our legal wrapper, so that right now we are able to receive the donations. We don't need to rely on the third party. We don't need to rely on other agencies to receive the donations and get a sponsorship for us. So right now we are having our own funds, and we can organize our events with these kind of financial resources. And finally, we have online events. Regular events and gathering is very critical to preserving the contributors and also making contributors have the vibe of cooperating together and working together and get together to chat, to connect with each other, and to exchange their opinions and experience. So this is contact info of vTaiwan community. And if you want to connecting to vTaiwan, just send it to vtaiwan.tw@gmail.com. And for me, it's like this. It's like SDFGHJ at 1001 on 1001 gmail.com. And we also have a Facebook page and Instagram. And we have weekly meetup like this, and from 7 to 9 on every Wednesday night. This week will be Thursday because I'm in Chiang Mai right now. Yeah. So I'll also have the Slack. If you want to join into the gov-zero Slack, you can search on join.g0v.tw, and you can get the link to get into the gov-zero Slack and become one contributor of the gov-zero community. And vTaiwan has our own Slack channel. It was hashtag vTaiwan, like that. Yeah. So, yeah. The vTaiwan, usually it will be Mandarin, but if there's international contributors coming up, we will switch to English mode. Yes. Okay. So this is the end of my sharing. If you have any questions about vTaiwan or about gov-zero experience, I really encourage you guys, if you want to look more about gov-zero, this community book. I know that there's several books brought by Vivian Chen. Thanks to Vivian Chen brought into Chiang Mai. But there's one copy. I think it's the last copy of this old version. We are going to get a new version this year because you know that it was 2023, 2 years ago from today. So you can take a look at it. And if you want to, because it was single copy, but however they have the barcode here. So if you want to copy here, they will have barcode and have different version, English version, Chinese, Mandarin version. Right now we also have Japanese version if you need like that. So just take a look at it, and you will know more detail about how to build a civic tech community from scratch on your own, or how to build a civic tech project on your own. And we'll also have some examples, including contributors from Japan, from South Korea, from Thailand, and in Thailand, actually, we have one civic tech project. It's called forked from Taiwan. It was called CoFact. Yeah, right. CoFact Thailand. Yeah, it was actually forked by CoFact community in Taiwan. Yes. So take a look at it, and if you have any questions, just ask me anything right now. Yeah.
I think we have about 15 minutes to do.
Yeah.
Q&A round, yeah?
Yes.
We have questions.
I think I will collecting some of the questions and
yeah,
I will answering it at once.
Yes. 2 questions at a time.
Yeah.
Ask a question. Cool.
I guess this isn't amplified. Okay, yeah. I guess I'm just curious about what you see as the distinction between like Join and vTaiwan.
Yes.
Do you think the increased engagement on Join has more to do with like its mandate by the government to use it, or like to what degree do you think its simplicity versus like sort of the complexity of vTaiwan has something to do with adoption?
Yes.
I also wanted to ask you what are the biggest challenges that you see for adoption, and if you are putting into effect some counteraction to what are you doing in order to increase adoption?
Yes. One by okay. So one by one. For the first question, I think the distinction between vTaiwan and the Join platform is that the Join platform is more like an opinion gathering platform, which means that everybody leave your comments on the government's policies, but the government will never may offer more explanation to you, and this is not interactive. However, in vTaiwan community and in vTaiwan process, with the face-to-face dialogue, you will have the chance to doing the real conversation, like interactive conversation with different contributors in the different contributors and different stakeholders in the community and in the society. So I think it's the main distinction. And also the joint platform do have some advantage on simplicity because it works on social media. You can leave comments and it really simple, works really simple on that. But these kind of simple ways also make people lazy and make people not willing to offer more ways, like doing a deeper conversation with each other, even with the people with different opinion. So that is why we want to use like the small issue meetup, trying to use an easy vibe to attract everybody together, to make people adapting to these kind of conversation. So this is my answer to your question. And for the second question, I think the main challenge is since vTaiwan is designed for the policy discussions, but however, you know that if a policy is not followed by the government or is not getting to the government agencies, then the policy discussion will be meaningless. People are just like bullshit talking like that. So how to persuade the government agencies to really realize the policy is really important. So why we working with TWNIC to do the small issue meetup? One reason is that the TWNIC work with the governments on some internet governance issues. So they have the influence, they have the bridges, they have the key person in the government agencies to work with. And also, TWNICs work with other online platforms as well, like Facebook, like Meta, like Google. So they are able to influence these kind of huge corporations or technology platforms to alter their or change or adapt their policies. So that is what the most challenges we want to solve is that how to make our discussion be realized in the policy making, no matter it's from the government or non-government entities. Yeah. Okay.
I think we have a question there. And
there,
Robert.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is that it seems gov-zero has been existed for a decade, right?
Yes.
But your slides still say that most citizens in Taiwan do not know about you or your mechanism. I wonder why is that?
Yes.
The second question is about, you say that your platform is not institutionalized, and
yes.
I saw that there's like DPP politicians a part of your team. So I wonder, for example, if the next government is from KMT, is there any possibility that your platform might be reduced, might be halted, or might be dissolved?
Oh, yes.
So
yeah.
I have two questions.
Yes, I know. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
This might seem a ridiculous question, but what is a stronger democracy? Like, what is a strong democracy?
Yes.
Like in Australia, they're censoring the internet and putting in digital IDs to control people, and they think it's stronger, and everyone's voting for it. So, like, is there a North Star on what a strong democracy is?
Yes. It's a good question, but I will answer it one by order. So the first question will be why the reputation gap, and also in gov-zero and vTaiwan also surviving for like 10 years, and for vTaiwan is like we are about to moving on to our 10th years. So why most citizens in Taiwan still know little about the mechanism? I think the first the reason is people knowing what gov-zero is or have like very slight impression on that. Like, oh, gov-zero is the group of people working with technologies and trying to use technology to solve the social issues, but they cannot know more detail about that. We trying to some gov-zero projects are working with education, like working in schools, working with public schools to try to promote these kind of digital values or digital literacies to try to bridging these kind of gaps. But I think we still have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to make people more understand deeper about gov-zero. Gov-zero also, another reason is that the gov-zero, we have one manifesto is called Nobody Can Represent Nobody, which means that in gov-zero, we usually joke about never say why nobody does that, because you are the nobody, which means that before you complain, you should take action. Before you complain why nobody does that, you should become the nobody in your words to take the action. So, however, the nobody, which means that we cannot represent others. So that is why my sharing is focusing on vTaiwan rather than other different projects in gov-zero, because since I have no power or authority to represent others to talk or discussion on that. But however, these ways also means that the gov-zero cannot find a good representative to promote the whole community, which means that the media coverage will be decreased and people have blurred views about the gov-zero community. And the second way is institutional. That is also why vTaiwan got into a low vibe after 2020, after the pandemic. So we're trying to figure out how to solve these kind of questions. And after we receive the funds from OpenAI, we have some rest of the money when we are finishing the project. So we put it into the OCF account. I think the OCF serves as a legal wrapper for many different open source communities in Taiwan, and it works as a best mechanism for us to keep our money, and also we are be able to receive donations from other entities as well. And so also for your question about a stronger democracy, there's no clear and there's no right answer about the stronger democracies. But however, from my view is that people will invest more of their effort, invest more of their time into the public affairs, like making discussions or reading the news or participating in the vote. I think in Taiwan, we are still preserving these kind of vibe in our community, in our society. People are still willing to go into vote. People are still willing to read the news and making discussions, even though some discussions are in a bad quality, like they are scolding with each other, cursing the people with. I don't think that is good. So that is why I'm trying to, vTaiwan community trying to use the small issue meetup, trying to make people with these kind of face-to-face gathering up, we can talk in a more easier way and not cursing each other, not talking in a very violent way like that. So for this part, it will be the stronger democracies. But however, there's definitely be a lot of ways, different ways of achieving a stronger democracies. Like in Taiwan, we have different kinds of civic tech projects that are working with different sides. Like from one side is like disinformation. We have COFAX projects that are using community-based approach to solving the disinformation on the internet. And we also have a small group of people working on cyber resilience, which means that right now, there's a recent news is that Taiwan's undersea wire is being cut off by a Chinese boat, which means that, and then these kind of undersea wire is really critical about internet. And also internet is very critical for the digital nomad like you guys as well. So how to deal with these kind of situation when all the sea wires are disabled, are destroyed during a war or during a natural disaster like earthquake or typhoon, that it will be really critical. And that is also some other different projects in the gov-zero community are working with. So I think there are different forms of the stronger democracies, and we have different ways and different approach and different people focusing on different side of that. Yeah. Okay.
My question's kind of been asked, but also I wanted to ask, why do you think, what makes Taiwan so special that civic tech is so advanced in Taiwan?
Oh, it's a big question and it's a good question. Yeah. So why Taiwan have like a very good environment for the civic tech groups to grow? Well, I want to talk about the origin of the gov-zero community. Why gov-zero is constructed in 2012, about 13 years ago. So the gov-zero is constructed by, is founded by several engineers who is unsatisfied with the government. And at that time, the ruling party, the ruling government actually have the video and saying that our economic policy is take action. Take action is better than saying anything. So people is very angry about it because you did say nothing about that. And it is totally intolerable for the digital, for the democratic countries, because in democratic countries, the politicians have the obligations to explain their policies to the public. But the governments shed their shoulders and says, okay, I don't want to talk with you about these detailed information because it was too complicated for you to understand. You are so dumb, and we want to take action. That's it. So people are get angry about that. So the first project of the gov-zero community is the visualization of the government project. In Taiwan, we have right now Thai baht is like the same value of Taiwanese dollars. Right now we have $200 billion a year for the government budget. So the government, so these projects, the government budget visualization, using the software and the apps to visualize these 200 billion budgets on the internet, and making people easily find out what government invests more, what government invests less, like that. And they also have some other functions like comparison of different years and comparison of different areas like that. And they even using some analogy like our government budget is able to offer 1 million students to eat their free lunch, like that. These kind of analogy to make people easier to understand what government budget is.